Jake, I'm here. I'm alive. I made it.
Is this like a ransom video? Are you going to hold up a
Yes.
newspaper with today's date and be like, if you want Anthony returned
I
from
mean,
this
Actually,
from
no, what
this
happened
secret
is
warehouse?
Johnny Ive joined up with OpenAI, so he left his white void, and I've taken over his old white void workspace. That's what happened.
It really looks like a green screen or something. Like it's
No. If I step out of the way,
the
you might see some of the old paneling.
no, it looks like it's all fake. It's like
Okay.
you're on a.
I should have set up a
Someone has
beacam or
clipped out-
something.
It looks like that someone's finally figured out how to clip around a head on a video to blur out the background perfectly. Like this is the best cut. Whatever software you're using to hide where
take
you
a
are
picture
should
real
be
quick.
commercialized and immediately sold to everybody. Zoom's gonna call you after this and be like, "Hi, how do we get that?"
I have a single light because there's just absolutely brutal overhead lighting in the space that is going to get taken out.
All right.
It's cold as hell today in New Jersey, back in New Jersey. There's no more appropriate of a day than today to be back in New Jersey and doing some podcasting. Tomorrow is a national holiday here in New Jersey, I guess, which is the first Friday of cultural summer, Friday of Memorial Day weekend.
All right.
Historically, I would be heading to the shore, but it is like frigid here for May, and our house is heated with steam boiler, which is shut down for the season in a very steampunk kind of way. And also the radiators in this room do not work yet. They are like the heat gets to the valve. So there's a lot of things that have to happen here. I have a light. I have a wire rack that the past owner was like, would you like to keep this wire rack? Because he couldn't fit it down the weird little staircase to my little studio here. So I have a wire rack in which my light, and I left my keyboard over there, so I may need to get that in a second. And the one modern part about this is that I got gigabit fiber installed directly to the wall behind me.
Nice.
It was
nice.
We used old telephone wire to shoink it through the trees.
Fish it
all the
through,
way
yeah.
to-
You're okay.
So
Excellent.
we've sacrificed old telephone line and replaced it with a gigabit fiber, which is awesome.
I think the last 3 houses I had in Canada, like every time we moved into new places, like I ended up pulling out the old telephone wire. I'm like, I hope no one behind me, in the ownership tree is like, I really want to put in a landline because it's all gone. I pulled all of it out.
Luckily, Jake, none of the wires go through the walls in this house because the house was built before there were wires. So it's all just on the walls if you would like to get involved in anything.
I'm laughing at your boiler heating. That is like the most hilarious thing.
It's been shut down for the season.
I'm so that's even funnier. I'm so interested in that, how climate changes those kind of things. Like we just have such different problems for that. Like you're trying to figure out how to turn on a boiler. Meanwhile, we had to replace the conduits for our air conditioners because the sun pretty much melted them. Like they're only 2 years old, and all the sheathing around it is like deteriorated, just disintegrated. The guy's like, we gotta do these all over again.
Dude. My favorite project I'll probably dig into this rainy weekend is I'm likely going to use the old holes of I think it was like knob and tube access holes that were drilled in the floor down to the basement, but you can see clear on through. Some of those holes are coax cable now, but I think I'm going to be able to do, I found a route from this little studio joint straight down to the basement, and I can run Ethernet through knob and tube wiring holes, which just feels like the great way to modernize this joint.
Make like a backbone trunk for your home network.
Yeah. Got the whole Ubiquity thing. All of my friends have been out there telling me Ubiquity is I'm finally doing it. I'm finally here.
I'm gonna do it too. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah.
So, So the studio is not. This is barely set up. This is the first time I've turned on this mic in here. The Miko audience probably thinks I died entirely because I packed away all my shit and I thought I would unpack it at least 3 days sooner than I did. But there's too much going on here. So I did bring
That's
a
awesome,
drink.
man.
I brought a very appropriate Cape May IPA, Coastal Evacuation, which is normally what I'd be doing this weekend, but I'm not.
All right. Cool.
So double IPA.
That's excellent.
That's what's up.
I got the most boring one ever. Old Dos Equis.
Nice.
Yeah. I did have a nice glass though. They didn't have the Steve Aoki special edition, but I did get this I don't know if you can see that. But...
Steve Aoki special edition. I totally forgot about that.
This is the glass I got at a pub in Bermuda. So
let me see it again. Let's zoom in on that again.
I don't know. It's hard to see the.
Yeah, put your hand back there.
I don't know.
It doesn't work. You gotta pour like a dark beer in that or something.
You gotta do one of these.
Right, there you go. What's that? The Frog and Onion Pub.
Yeah.
I love the names of pubs. You could just make up Noun and Noun Pub. And it's probably owned by Foster's or it's not Foster's. What is the company that owns everything in London? Fuller's?
In London? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
But yeah, totally. Lamb and Flag and Pony and Whip. And
there's
plumber and electrician pubs are all named after, or they're all named that, but they're all owned by I think it's like a Kellogg's cereal kind of situation.
Oh shit, like Genie, yeah. Procter and Gamble owns this.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a Dungeons and Dragons pub name generator that's basically that exact formula.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
100%.
Tavern, ye old tavern, the Black Dragon Inn kind of thing.
Clearly we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, really getting into it.
We never talked about, Jake. It's a very New Jersey show here. We never talked about my trip to learn about valves, and I feel like we should have talked about this.
Yeah.
I don't even think we've talked about it.
No, we haven't.
The show. We have not even talked about it.
Don't really know much about it except for the one good story. Yeah.
Yeah. So I met a guy named. There were many Jims on the tour. And I met this guy named Jim who hand polishes poppets. Hand polishes by eye. I didn't see a measurement device near him, but apparently he has to polish this down to 4 microns or something. And so that is the embodiment of who's the Valves Inc. guy? Bob
from Valves Inc. Yeah,
that's him. His name's Jim.
Turns out it was Jim, wasn't Bob.
It was Jim the whole time.
Yeah. I was laughing when you told me that because it's like, oh yeah, this guy can tell by eye. He's like that good. And I was kind of like, either he's that good, or maybe we just figured out why valves keep failing in every mission. Maybe this is the actual answer. So some guy doing it by hand, and he won't teach anyone else how to do it.
Yep, it's just Jim sitting there. And this was Marotta Controls. I don't know if I mentioned that. This was Marotta up, hour and a half north of me, and man, it is a legit place. It is crazy. It's tucked up in the hills, so you would never even know it's there. All of a sudden, you go in, and there is shit everywhere. We always talk about the vibe check of how much hardware and how many people are doing things. And I think often this gets associated with photos of ULA or Blue Origin's facilities. Yeah. And how many people are in the shot at any moment.
Yeah.
Can you take a picture when there's no people in? If so, you have a problem.
Yeah.
You couldn't stand anywhere without somebody running by with a whole sheath of stuff that they're carrying somewhere else in the factory. It was an active joint.
That's cool.
I think that's because it's in New Jersey, so there's not really Long Beach levels of space to expand to. There's not.
Okay.
And it is where it is, and I don't think the neighbors want it to expand beyond that. So, it's a
lands
at
a premium over there on the dense coast. Yeah.
Yeah. Not so much at a premium that they can't test fire stuff at the facility, which is fantastic. So if you want to listen to a sound that's almost incomprehensible and really not even worth listening to unless you're there experiencing it like myself, they test fired a cold gas thruster from a notable first stage. I think there was a slight modification on the standard one that goes in Falcon 9. But it is the power of a Falcon 9 cold gas thruster, the little ones at the top of the first stage. And I stood I think it was 15 feet away from this thing. There were shock diamonds from just nitrogen flowing through this thing. That's how much power was going through. You got to do it once. It's the craziest thing.
That's funny because you don't think of those as where the power comes from on a Falcon 9. If you're what's the strongest part of a Falcon 9? You're not gonna be the little cold gas thrusters are oriented.
That's the crazy part, right? That's the perspective shifting thing, is that you stand, you're that's the little one on the rocket. But
yeah. I mean, Falcon 9 just has that problem in general. It just if you only ever view it in front of a computer desk like this, which is mostly how I see them, they just feel way smaller. But they're not that small. They're actually pretty big. And if you want to move those things around, I'm sure you got to have a little bit of get some elbow grease in that one, Yeah,
and it's they have this thruster pod. They kind of have like a generic covering on it with the nozzles. Doesn't look like the one that gets all wrapped up for Falcon 9. And they can fire any of the actual thruster directions. But they one time fired like to the side and then blew a TV off the wall. And so they now only fire the one pointing straight up so that it goes right into the table and nothing comes off the walls anywhere. So,
that's funny.
Yeah, it's a good experience, man. Obviously, this is not an experience you can go pay for, although I told them they could probably charge admission to stand in the room while they like acceptance fire this thing, because it's...
You're like, I can get you a few hundred anomalies that'll come down and pay $50 to do this for sure.
The best part was that we go in. I should pull up a picture of this thing. I don't even know if I have a picture of the this box. So we go in where they have the test rig set up, and there's the thruster on the table. There's all the steampunk piping. It kind of looked like my basement with the steam boilers. There's just like shit happening everywhere. And there's this metal box, like metal framework in the back of the room with some glass doors, and it's got a sliding door on it. So clearly, like, it's a thing that something goes in, humans or otherwise. So they're debating. They're like, oh, where should we stand for the test fire? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, that's not my department to figure out where I should stand. You tell me where to stand. I'm not going to stand where you're not standing. So they're like, oh, let's stand in the box. I'm like, that seems appropriate. This seems like a legitimate piece of test infrastructure.
This must be the safety box.
Yeah, clearly this is the Richard Garriott kill zone box, obviously. Seems sturdy. It's built of metal. It has glass, which that part felt potentially dangerous. We were in safety glasses, so, only so much could go wrong. So we're in there. They're getting close to hitting the button. I'm like, hey, by the way, what is this thing? Like, what are we in right now? And they're like, oh, this is like a test chamber for the marine components that we make. So when we are operating them, we put them in here, and then we run the test in here in case it blows up. And this is like, I think you can hear it on the Miko show I did. This is like seconds before they hit the button. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm standing in a thing that's supposed to keep shit in? Like, this is not built to keep stuff out, which would be the thing that I would be concerned about as you're about to put 6,000 PSI through this thruster next to us. So test goes off. It's great. I'm like, yeah. So when's the last time anyone was in the box for the test firing? And they were like, yeah, that might have been the first time we've ever done that. All right. So a worthy experience. Now we know that test box is actually Richard Garriott kill zone approved. And I would do it 100 times again if they let me just go in there and push the button all day. It was badass.
That's awesome.
So I did learn about poppets. I was asking all these questions about poppets.
Yeah, what the hell is a poppet?
It's just a piece inside the valve. I don't know why everyone made it such a big thing, It's all anyone could talk about.
It sounds like you don't know what a poppet is.
Not really, to be honest. They showed them to me. I could point them out. I know where Jim sits. I don't know. It's like it's a piece of the valve that goes in and out. I don't know why. I don't know why poppets became famous. I guess they only became famous because of Starliner.
I was going to say, NASA puts it in a press release, and then everyone's got to become an expert on it. You get a new word, it's like, okay. Every reporter's like, no, I got to figure out what a puppet is.
So this is where I want to go with this, Jake, is the, I'm sticking up for Big Valve. The treatment of valve companies I find interesting because technical issue happens. Company or organization that had the issue reports the results, and reporters, journalists, whatever, we're all trying to figure out what was the thing that broke, right?
Yeah.
And valves, in the chain of things that broke, valves are like the first incomprehensible piece of the chain that you hit. So when the story gets to, oh, it was the valve that broke, everybody goes, good enough. Print the story. Like, that's the story.
Enough.
Right
this is deep enough for CNBC.
Exactly.
Everyone knows what a valve is, and we don't want to know anymore.
Yep. And we stop right there. And we don't know in many cases, did you use the valve wrong? Which happened, I think, in the case of like Peregrine. Like, the valve broke, but they blasted through the valve with like more pressure than they should have.
Yeah.
I assume some of the Artemis ones were like, we didn't do the liquid hydrogen right or something. Do you remember?
The nuts were loose. Yeah.
The visibly loose nuts, yes. Good point. So that's where I was left, is that these are the thing that get complex when you're walking the chain of what broke. These are the things that you encounter first that are significantly complex and not worth explaining any more than this. So you stop at the valve broke. And I am here to say, as much as we slagged on him, I feel like that's a pretty unfair thing that we do.
I keep getting bugged by our listeners to make a shirt about valves, because it's always valves that screw up. Maybe I got to change it now and be like, valves did nothing wrong. And like,
that's the subject. Wait, I gotta. Hold on, let me find my sticker. Wait, hold on. I don't know how far.
You got a sticker?
1 sec. I got a valve sticker.
A valve sticker. This is good content. Hey, your lighting is changing without that dark sweater in the picture.
I can't hear any jokes that you're making because
Oh, you can't hear my jokes. Let me tell you this great one about how shitty Philadelphia. Oh, hey, how's it going?
Valves.
That's pretty good. That's a good sticker.
Somebody made this and they had a whole stack. Maybe it's somebody at SpaceX or something. I don't know. Because that's the thing with Marotta. Okay, this is the mystifying part. They're the ones with all the SpaceX work, pretty much. Like, I think they're the most expensive component on the Falcon 9 in many cases. There might be like one component that is cheaper or more expensive, but they're like up there. But they're the one thing that all these companies aren't pulling in-house, which I find kind of interesting. And this is what
it's super interesting.
Are you concerned about, like, Rocket Lab is probably the one, right? That would buy a valves company that's doing okay, but doesn't quite do the scale that the other ones do. Yeah. And hit them with the Rocket Lab acquisition juice. Yeah. Or SpaceX
SpaceX could just be like, actually, we're going to save a bunch of money and do it ourselves. Yeah.
I think from what I hear, they may have tried once or twice and were like, nah, that's not worth it's actually really hard and it's not worth the time.
Yeah, the SpaceX way is they'll just like come over to this place you went to and hire Jim and bring him over and then have him reinvent them all over again and then it's over. They'll just poach every.
He comes in, he's like, I got an idea. No poppets.
Yeah.
We're not doing poppets. If you had a thought that we might do a poppet, we're not doing the poppets.
That's true. If there's one company that would not be in the business of handmade artisanal poppets, it's SpaceX for sure. They're going to want dirty, industrial, cheap, spill out the line.
Doesn't care. Don't care if it leaks. We'll just put more stuff in the vehicle. Leak more
if you have to make 10 because 9 of them break, that's fine. We'll just make 10 and grab the best one.
And so they kind of do that in some cases. I got to see and touch some of the assemblies that separate the fairings and the first and second stage. They are the same part that operates the pusher in both of those cases. So, but they use like 2 next to each other to make it redundant, rather than just making the one thing more high reliability. So that was kind of sweet. I didn't realize that those would be the same part. I was like, what the, like, obviously you can change the piston size or whatever, but it's the actual same part between the first and second stage and the fairings.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a very Falcon 9. That's a very SpaceX thing to do.
Yeah, right. It's like, well, the one thing comes apart. Might as well just make everything that comes apart do the same
one
thing.
Less part to make, twice as much scale. That's great, yeah.
And there's a rack, kind of like the rack that's sitting in my studio here. Probably about the same size, to be honest. May even be the same rack. Of all of the fairing separation components that have come back. Because they, if they fish them out and if they need to get cleaned out or something because they got too much seawater, they just send them back. They clean them out, send them back their way. And I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. They're sooty as hell, too. The fairing, even. I was kind of surprised by that.
That's interesting.
So, yeah.
That's
maybe
cool,
if
man.
They separate,
Like
they get hit with a lot of soot.
Well, fairings kind of re-enter, don't they? Are they just burnt?
They do. I have a problem with the word re-enter generally. Because in some cases, it was the first time it ever entered.
Yeah.
It left.
Never. Did it really? Did it leave? I guess they kind of leave. Fairings, they probably leave, right?
Yeah, they leave.
Yeah.
But the first re-entry should not be called re-entry, right? There needs to be a root entry.
No, because you can re-enter after leaving something.
But you never entered in the first place. Unless you get real,
That's fine.
universal on this, I guess, when the atoms entered the Earth.
No, you can re-enter. It's one of those redundant words. You can enter, you can re-enter.
Columbia, first launch, right? And then it came back in. That was a re-entry,
Yeah.
even though it never entered. Okay.
100%.
Because like at a sports game, it says no re-entry, and that's because you already entered once. So that makes sense. This is also like my Max Q take, Jake. Nobody cares about Max Q. I'm still on that one. I still feel right about that one. Also, okay, here you go, Jake. What do you call it at Mars?
It's a re-entry, yeah. Ooh,
no,
hold on.
No, it's not.
No, because you never left. That's why.
Because you never left, okay. You never got there either, though.
Yeah, you got there. You enter the atmosphere. Okay. But you're re-entering it because you left.
We're going to take a poll. I don't think there's many people watching because we surprised everybody that we're doing the show an hour earlier today because we forgot to post the link. I forgot to post the link. Let us know if you agree with me that the first entry ever should just be called entry and all subsequent ones should be re-entry. Or if you agree with Jake that only Mars gets that.
It's not a Mars thing. It's if that's where you were to begin with, it's like returning somewhere. You re-enter it. If you leave something and then you come back into it, you've re-entered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot where I was going before that.
We got a little tangent there.
Oh, here's the other cool part is just that this thing exists in New Jersey. Like none of the aerospace industry exists here. Except for this, there's another valves company that's, I think, closer to me.
Yeah, it's in New Jersey as well.
Yeah, there's we're big on valves, man. We can do cranberries and valves. That's it. That's the name of the pub, actually, that I go to here. It's
on the
Cranberries
license
and
plate.
Valves.
Cranberries and valves, yeah.
The valve state. Yeah.
The valve state.
I should get maybe I'll get I got to get a new license plate. Maybe I'll get one about valves or something. Katie will love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you do like custom vanity plates? Is that a thing?
Yeah. 7 digits long. I've always thought I should just get Anthony, but I assume that one's taken in New Jersey. That one's probably taken.
Probably, yeah.
Seems unlikely that's available. Yeah. It's extra money. If it wasn't extra money, I would do it, but I bet somebody up that works at Marotta has a valves license plate.
Probably.
Yeah.
Valves Inc. No, that's 8.
That's 8. That's 9. Valves is 6.
Valves, yeah. Valve Inc. Valves Inc. Yeah.
It's cool though, man. I think I have a new respect for the sheer level of manufacturing that goes into some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've been in rocket and spacecraft factories before, but I've never been at like a component supplier.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the scale difference is interesting.
Yeah, unless you've been in the Starlink factory, then you're used to like we're making 10 of these. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You can count
at best
what's in there, but this was just racks of 400 of the, and they do not space stuff. They do, defense. They do marine. They do a lot of other things too. So there's not just the space side going on, but it was pretty cool. We'll have to have some of them on because they obviously live close. So
yeah.
You should fly here. Come help me turn my boiler back on, and then we can go visit the valves company.
I don't know anything about boilers, man. That's not my expertise. I'll get your AC working.
Yeah, I do not have AC in this room right now, so I'm racing the clock as to when the humidity strikes to actually put a unit in.
So I guess we're on Team Valves now. That's the new off-nominal gospel. Shut up about valves is a skill issue.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna go to bat for valves every time.
All right.
So.
I like this take.
I'm going to do You're different. Holding it wrong like Steve Jobs did with the iPhone bumper. That's how I feel about valves now. Like you probably did it wrong.
I've heard that from like engineers too. It's just like valves are fine, but when you use them incorrectly and put them in bad environments and you don't take care of them and then you just cause problems, right? Because I imagine like FOD is pretty brutal on valves. Like if you don't keep them clean, that's probably like number one way to really screw it up, right? One grain of sand in a valve and it's over. Most of what they showed
me were like the way that they clean the valves and then keep them clean while they work on them.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that take was even. Remember the was it the Amos 6 explosion that it was the CRS-7 Falcon 9 failure, right? Where the strut broke.
Strut failed, yeah.
And it was like, well, the strut failed. It's like, yeah, but you shouldn't have put that strut in that
Yeah,
spot.
strut was not for that, yeah.
Yeah, right. So the strut did break, but you also did a stupid thing with it.
Same thing would have happened if you'd used a popsicle stick, and that's why you didn't.
Yeah. I don't crash my car and be like, my car broke. It's like, it did, yeah. It definitely did break, but that's not why.
My car broke. Oh, what happened? Oh, I drove it into a tree.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you should just led with that. So, yeah, the valve failed. What'd you do? I jammed all of my propellant through it all at once. Did that?
I kept it in my pocket when I went to the beach.
Yeah. So I think us and the anomalies should be just out there defending the valves companies.
Love it. You heard it here first, folks.
We got to find a new scapegoat, though.
We got everyone's got a bug journalist now. So when all of our journal friends just write valve and they don't go any deeper, push back.
Really
push back.
Yeah.
Do your job.
Can you see that fly? Proof that I'm actually in the physical
world. It's blurred
world.
by the fake background.
Can we talk about Viper? Did you read about any of this
on there?
Viper drama?
I am just like, okay, well, my first take on it. Okay, well, so the story for anyone is that NASA had put out remember that call that was like, hey, if you want to fly this rover for free for us, that would be great. Let us know if you're interested. And then they put out an RFP for that. And then they got the answers back, and now they're saying we're going to go another way. Right? I'm not missing anything, right?
Nope, you nailed it. I mean, the one thing you did miss was that they had to fly Viper for free, but all the data had to go to NASA.
Yeah.
And you had to operate it exactly as they would have operated it on the surface.
And I'm pretty sure when that first happened, you and I were like, who would do that? Like, this is the dumbest. This is the dumbest thing.
It's the most prestige mission ever.
Yeah, and so I was like, when I first came back, I was like, you idiots! Like, now you're gonna go another way. Are you just gonna put it back on Griffin and just do the damn thing like you originally thought? Like, what is the plan here? This is such a weird mission. But then I realized
that's even the worst part is that they're not gonna just put it back on Griffin and operate it. They're gonna and they've already said Griffin's still gonna fly as is. I think they announced, didn't they announce like Astroforge or something was gonna, not Astroforge, Astrolab was going to fly their rover or a test
Flex
version,
rover thing, right? Yeah.
the chassis of their rover on Griffin.
Like a scale model of because it's a bit smaller, I think.
I think it's like just the drivetrain, basically.
Something like that, yeah.
So they're going to let this rover lander just fly probably not that far off a schedule. Haven't heard any schedule updates lately, but I bet it will like not be that far off. And then, so there was the announcement. Then there was also, was it Nikki Fox was at a conference? Let me scroll down this article. I think it was Nikki Fox. Somebody was at a conference talking about this, and they like indicated that they had gotten, there was two rounds of requests or responses to their RFP. There was a initial round of interest, and then there was a second round of, okay, what if you did your plan, what would you actually do?
Mm-hmm.
And that was due in May, and then this announcement happened. So there was talk of, all right, well, we actually now saw what people put together, and we've got to rethink this entirely.
Yeah.
And the way it read between the lines was like, everybody could not make this workable, of like, fly the mission for free exactly as we would have done it, give us all the data, do not commercialize it in any way. They basically were hoping for a Jared Isaacman to show up and be like, I'll just fly the mission.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, and that's where like I went through like a bunch of stages with this news very quickly, and that's the first one. I was like, this is so dumb, guys. Why are you doing this? And I was like, oh, maybe all the proposals were like really bad. Like maybe just like industry just like did not come through. And I was like, wait, maybe NASA really architected this RFP in a goddamn awful way, and industry was like, no thank you, right? That's probably more likely.
Yeah.
And then I finally my last point I got to, which is where I am today, is just like NASA has absolutely no fucking idea how much money they have, and they're not starting anything right now. I'm like, that's the only real answer, is just like, we're not going to do any new starts right now
Yeah.
because we're on a budget that is 2.5 years old, and the current administration wants to remove all the money we have. So yeah, I'm not signing up for anything. I'm saving my pennies. NASA's bank account is in a sock under the bed right now. Like that's how dire things are.
Maybe this will end up being a Mars rover.
Maybe.
You would be pumped.
Just it's going to be sample return. That's what it's going to be.
This is it. The new MSR, Viper based.
Yeah. It's so
bummer,
man. I'm just
such a cool mission.
I know, and I'm just so frustrated. This is like not helping me with my get over the Big Johnson Space Center conspiracy theory thing, because it's just like, you guys just bungled it. Like, what did you do? Like, what is this? Like this. How many times is this rover going to get canceled before like we actually cancel it? You know, like what are we on, like the third?
I know.
Is this the third cancellation?
Are you counting the resource prospector stuff?
Yeah, I count resource prospector.
Okay.
That's what it is.
I like it, but that's what I was going to ask. Is Viper is managed out of Johnson because of resource prospector?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so's Clips.
And Clips is too. Yeah.
So yeah.
But how is this not? You're saying it's not helping your JSC theory. Please help me understand this, JSC, because I love your Johnson Space Center conspiracy theory. It's my favorite thing ever. I can't wait to go to Johnson with you personally and see how quickly you get deported or something.
No, I just mean it's not helping me because like this is, these are shenanigans. These are like project.
But wouldn't they just get the money if this fits? Wouldn't they just say, "Hey, we're doing this rover. Like, give us 500 mil or whatever"?
Yeah, but the administration said no, right? And so now they're
they're just saying no. We're taking our ball.
They're trying different things, right? But the point is that like we've been doing this project now for how many years? If you go all the way back, and it keeps getting shoehorned and patched into other projects to like stay alive. All these shenanigans just to keep the damn thing alive and get the money in, and it hasn't delivered a single thing. And yeah, so cancel it, you cowards, or fly it. Pick one. Those are your two options.
Man, sometimes Wikipedia, man. It's like, when was Resource Prospector started? The overview. In February 1976, the Soviet landed Luna 24. I'm like, no, we're off base here.
It was like a.
It was field testing in
tech
2015.
demo kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So I mean, if it was field testing in 2015, it had to be. It doesn't even say when this actually was working on, when they were actually
double-digit years, though. Double-digit years.
Yeah. Man, I wonder if they still have that little. Were they using the like chassis that was sitting in the Building 9 at JSC for this?
I'm pretty sure I've seen this rover.
I've stood next to the Resource Prospector one. Yeah.
I think when I visited JSC in 2016.
Yeah, it's that graveyard of canceled stuff next to the
ISS.
ISS.
And there's that robot, that NASA robot that's like,
totally.
that one building where
there's
just a bunch of RC cars
machines
and stuff.
people have worked on. It's like a Morpheus lander.
The zombies there and like and a whole bunch of like lunar habitat like test articles. They're like, one day
the LOP G is in there.
Shout out. The whole gateway is in there.
Yeah, it's still there. The real one. Dragon XL's in there somewhere.
Yeah. It's in the restricted area. Not allowed to go in there.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
Be a cool mission.
So it sucks. It would be cool. But I don't know. It's the same thing though. It's just like, what's that take I always have where it's just like, if you don't have a good like, I go back and forth with this, but if you don't have a good consensus, like if you don't have good support or a whole bunch of people that think this is a good idea, then you're going to have a hard time and this is going to happen, right? I mean, I think people should fight for their projects, but if you don't have the support, don't try and sneak through on loopholes and bend the rules and get around, like, because it just always happens this way, right? Like you need a little bit of institutional support for what you're doing if you want it to really succeed. And if you don't have it, it's tough. And I don't know what the solution is there, because I don't think that like I'm not mad at the Viper team for like busting their ass trying to make this happen. Like that's what you're supposed to do. But I don't know. It's
but
weird.
you are somebody, as we've talked with Dr. Z on the show, that like you're somebody who doesn't like trying to sneak flagship missions in outside of flagship mission tracks, right? That this was a project that was always clearly a misfit for Clips. It was too early
from the get-go
in the manifest of flights that we had. Like nobody thought, oh yeah, by flight 4 or 5,
wasn't it the second one
out.
manifested? They were like,
pretty much, yeah. It was
Astrobotic is going to fly Peregrine, and the next thing is going to be Griffin. Like,
yeah, because I mean, Bridenstine announced it at that ISC, and that was 2019. Clips was like a year old, if that, right? Yeah. So they did the original task orders. It was the Peregrine, IM-1, and then the company that went out of business 10 minutes later, Orbit Beyond.
Orbit Beyond, yeah.
And I think the next one was Viper. I think that's roughly correct. But even then, yeah, like nobody thought, oh, we'll be in good enough shape. There were too many competing thoughts. Nobody thought the landers would be in good shape by then, realistically. Also, nobody thought this would be a throwaway amount of money. Like a giant, huge rover that's going to the moon and drilling was never going to be, if we lose it, no big deal.
Yeah, that was a huge issue with it. I think there was definitely a mismatch in expectations on, because actually, honestly, if they had project managed this in a way where it was like, yeah, we're treating this rover the exact same way we're treating the Clips landers, where it's just like cut every corner, go, don't buy any risk management, just like do your best. We got a limited budget. We'll fly it. We'll see what happens. And if it doesn't work, we'll fly 3 more after this. And one of them we'll get there eventually. But they didn't have that mindset, right? It did not match the Clips mindset. It was like, oh, what are they like? The budget doubled before they canceled it, I think. At least more than doubled. And so
it doubled, and they weren't counting all the budget. There was stuff they left out. They didn't count the launch. They didn't count something else. The operation.
They were doing, V&V risk management at a discovery level, and putting it on a launch vehicle that was STMD prototype level. Like it was just not a good match.
It was a good plan. You can't knock that. And honestly, Astrolab, we called them out, but that's the right way, right? Like, let's fly.
That's a great payload. Right, great payload for Clips, yeah.
I don't know what that noise was. I don't know if you heard that, but we got to figure out when we're doing this show. I don't know when my neighbors do their lawn yet. I have a lot of things to sort out over here. Astrolab was like, all right, we're going to fly the stuff that we need to test to make sure the rover part of the rover works, and not all the scientific payloads or the expensive stuff. If they were like, we're going to send honestly, if they did the plan that is currently in action, like we're going to send a Viper mass simulator and make sure Griffin works, and do one launch of Griffin with the right actual structural test article. It doesn't have wheels. It doesn't have payloads. It's literally just a piece of metal shaped like they sent the actual resource prospector from JSC that doesn't do anything. That would have been a better plan. Fly that once, make sure it works. Yeah. We'll work on the rover. Then you'll actually have a lander. I bet Astrobotic would have flown Griffin much earlier than they are going to, because they wouldn't have done all of the additional testing and validation.
And they got a bunch of like change orders too. Didn't Astrobotic like have to be dealing with like different requirements from NASA as they slowly realized that they weren't comfortable losing this $300 million rover?
Right, exactly. Yeah, but if in a world where they just said up front, we're going to do the Viper program, we're going to manifest a 500 kilogram mass simulator for Griffin, and buy the second Griffin flight all at once. Mm-hmm. We're buying 2 Griffin flights. The first one's a mass sim. We already have the piece of metal. We used it from the JSC one. The second one has the real rover. That would have let them be more responsible with the lander capabilities. Yep. Maybe even backburnered some of the costs of the actual development of Viper, so it wouldn't have all hit at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, because like even if you say Clips was not a good match for it, if you accept that as truth and go, okay, well, we have this Viper rover, how should we fly it? And you go, well, there isn't actually any other landers. Like, no one has a lunar lander. It doesn't exist, right? So then you're like, okay, well, actually, Clips kind of is the best option. It's not a good option, but it's the best option. Yeah. And I think you're right.
The only lander that works in Clips is the one from the company who can't build an upper stage.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do with that.
Oh, yeah. So you're probably right. It's just like if you approach the landing part with a little more flexibility and rigor and bought a few flights, I don't know, maybe even would have saved money. Who knows? Like it would have been interesting.
I think that's the original sin of Clip still, is that the companies couldn't build a manifest of flights out unless they, signed the random like Bitcoin contracts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or just happened to win all the task orders, like Intuitive Machines per your JSC theory.
Yeah.
But I mean, Astrobotic, I don't know what they got to get another task order win. I don't know what the outlook is there, right? They've announced a lot of infrastructure projects or the vertical solar array things.
Mm-hmm.
But
the project was just stringing wires across the moon. That one.
That one. Yep. Looks like my house, but on the moon. But beyond that, I mean, if they don't get another task order, let's say they fly Griffin end of the year. If they don't get another task order, when do those get awarded? Those get awarded in the fall. Don't they do like who knows if they're going to do one this fall?
Yeah.
I mean, they could be a year and a half out from another task order.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so what do they do if they fly Griffin? They keep everyone around it employed? Right. They haven't announced commercial contracts beyond that. Now, maybe Astrolab will say, oh, we're going to buy 2 more because our rover worked and Starship is still a ways off, and their plan was to go use Starship, so maybe they'll buy another Griffin. But there's no way a Griffin is cheaper than a throwaway contract with SpaceX.
Yeah.
And Astrolab stuff only really gets interesting when Starship works.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel I've had this creeping theory.
You're zeroing in on the poor business case of Clips.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I think I just merged the word fear and theory together, a theory. And I like that a lot. I have a theory that Astrobotic is like not going to last more than 2 years.
You have a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
In Spanish, if you want to ask someone if they have any like questions or concerns, like you imagine you're like in a, you're at a sales process, you're near the end. So like, do you have any questions or concerns? Right? They'll say, "Tienes dudas," which is like, "Do you have any doubts?" Right? And it always makes me laugh. But I mean, you have a duda right now. So I'm calling this.
I do have a duda.
Do you have any doubts? Doubts? No, I don't have doubts. I have a question. No doubts.
I don't know. I haven't heard from any Astrobotic peeps in a while. Maybe they're going to be mad at me that I moved to New Jersey and I started shitting on Astrobotic's long-term strategy. I'm out of PA and that's it. But
this is capitalism, baby. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah. We've got the Sideways Lander Company down in Texas. We've got Miraculous JSC, Lander Company down in Austin. Which more and more, as more time goes, the more that Firefly Blue Ghost mission just feels like, how did the hell did that work out so well? It's crazy, man.
Hey, maybe it was a fluke. I don't know.
Yeah, what if the next one's terrible? The next one's got all sorts of shit. It's got Artemis 4 levels of complexity. It's got an orbiter. It's got like another satellite. It's got a lander on it. So they got a lot of things that could go wrong. Speaking of moonlanders, Jake, you added me on Discord the other day because you're getting nervous about one of my bets.
I'm not nervous yet. No.
No? Okay. Please enlighten the audience of why you may or may not be nervous.
Well, so I don't remember
about this.
I don't. I have no. Sin dudas. I don't remember where the source of this was. It was like a tweet, but I don't know if it was official from Blue Origin or if it was like a journal or it was like, one of those dudes that has an anonymous Twitter account and pretends like they are and hard, which so that's all it said. I think was just they wanted to launch a thing. I don't know if it was like scale model or test article or full thing, but
it's a way to make it sound really cheap. Scale model, Jesus.
Well, what is it?
I don't think it's a scale model, is it? Wasn't it? It's not like it's a tiny one. It's not like a little tiny.
I don't know.
It's like the Lego Lem that they're launching to the moon. I'm finding it. I was going to open Discord, but when I opened Discord, I couldn't hear you anymore, which is a bizarre thing. So I couldn't hear you. I assume that you said I was super right, and you're getting nervous that they're actually going to land this blue moon lander on the moon.
Is that why my video is all off now? I feel like I've got a video delay now.
We disconnected into some reality here.
Discord, man. Discord screws us every time.
Blue moon. Discord is really struggling. So there's this crazy very Dragon XL looking thing, Jake. This,
yeah.
The
I like
transporter
this because
spacecrafts.
it looks like it's not too much more difficult than just a Blue Origin's New Glenn upper stage. You know, like it feels like it's an achievable iteration. It's like, yeah, it's an upper stage, and we add some solar panels and some thrusters. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's fly, baby. I'm all for that.
I mean, it looks like
But that's the
Earth
fueling
departure
thing, right?
stage
That's the tanker.
from yeah. What was it? I guess was it the Ares? It was the Constellation program that had like the crazy Earth departure stage thing. It's like the Ares rockets.
Yeah, that's where they assembled it in orbit, right?
Looked like that. Somewhere in here it says Mark 1. Here we go.
Mark 1.
Blue Moon Mark 1, a robotic lander capable of placing up to 3 metric tons on the lunar surface. They confirmed they would fly Blue Moon Mark 1 lander for the first time this year. They received a task order through CLIPS to fly a camera payload on this mission. That's currently
hang on. What is that first paragraph? Let's just zero in on that last sentence there.
Which one?
It uses the first paragraph last sentence.
It uses some of the same technologies such as the VE7 engine as the larger Mark II lander.
Larger?
Oh yeah,
so
but
it is a scale
model. No, a scale model is like you built a ship for your bookshelf. You know, like
just because it's 0.9 scale doesn't mean it's not scale.
I think Mark 1 is just the cargo not capable of humans lander. No.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just
so
poking you.
The vehicle is getting ready to ship out of our factory in 6 weeks. We should be launching a few months after that. It's going to go to JSC for tests in a large thermal vacuum chamber, so that's fun.
Big JSC in on this one,
and then it'll return to Florida for launch on New Glenn. So, I mean, unless Escapade jumps the queue here. Escapade's probably going to jump the queue, right?
I don't know, man. When he's supposed to launch Escapade? I feel like the timing on that is very. Yeah, I think last year was the idea, but
well, solid point.
Yeah. So sure, I don't know. I have no confidence in predicting Escapade right now. Basically, what I'm trying to say. Will it jump the queue? Literally no idea. But yeah, I don't know. I still, even if they say they want to, I still don't have any confidence that would fly this year.
Because of the Blue Origin side of things?
All of it.
Everything.
Yeah. There are too many steps behind. Every step is uncertainty, right? If it was like sitting in the building at Kennedy Space Center or wherever at the Blue Origin facility, like, yeah, we're just wrapping up the assembly at the factory and the rockets come up, then I'm like, okay, well, yeah, there's a chance now. But like, no, they got to finish building it, and then they got to get it out of the factory and ship it to JSC. Then they got to go through a whole round of testing. Then they got to pack it all up again and ship it all the way. Like, no thanks, that's not happening. That's too many steps for Blue Origin to do in a timely fashion.
Sounds like you have some major dudas.
Muchas dudas, yeah.
Muchas. All right. I mean, I guess we'll find out, man.
I'm also very pessimistic these days, though, so I don't know. We'll see.
You are a little pessimistic.
A little bit downer.
What did I bet, though? Let me pull up my what was that in? The predictions?
Yeah, that was in our prediction show, wasn't it?
Yeah, somewhere in here.
I think you said you would fly something towards the moon, like you were like very general on it.
I said Escapade in May and Blue Moon shaped thing in October.
Blue moon shaped thing.
Yeah. I might be 3 months shifted on both of those predictions.
Yeah, it could be.
So it would be like Escapade August, Blue Moon January.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm going to take a victory lap. If when we do this prediction show in January, if they're like prepping for launch within mere weeks and we already like have a NOTAM or something, I'm going to be counting that as a win, by the way. Just to be clear.
Love it.
So.
Okay.
You're looking good though. You said Jake says New Glenn flies maybe twice. It's pretty good. Yeah. Amazon under 120 satellites launched. You took the under. It's also looking pretty good.
Looking good, yeah.
Looking good. Yeah. All right. Well. Anyway. there we are. I'm just looking at
There
our
we
rest
are.
of our predictions now. There was one other thing
Anything
I
else
wanted to
good
talk
there?
to you about. We had an off nominee this week. What was it?
Yes, we did. What was it?
Chat, help us out. What happened this week that was hilarious?
Did I write it down? I thought I did. I thought I put it in our document. Off nominees 2025. Oh, we had the Gilmore Space one.
That one. That's the one. Yes.
Front fell off.
Yeah. Should we read this?
I had that realization in the middle of like Discord conversation where I was like, oh my god, this thing is the fairings, what a great off nominee, the fairings popped off. And I was like, oh my god, this is in Australia. Oh my god, the front fell off.
Last night during final checks, an unexpected issue triggered the rocket's payload fairing. No fuel was loaded, no one was hurt, and early inspections showed no damage to the rocket or pad. We'll send a replacement fairing from our Gold Coast factory after a full investigation. That means we're standing down from this test campaign. It's mega bummer that there's no video or even a photo. What does it look like?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
There hasn't been one, right?
I think they're chickening out. They got to show it. There's got to be something.
Post this photo.
Post the video, you cowards.
Check your staging. It's 100% right. Yeah, we've all been there.
Exactly.
Post your
We've all been
pictures.
there. Yeah.
That's a hilarious one.
It's so funny. Yeah.
And also
it's like
you gotta
literally
test your
you had the stages mixed up and someone hit the space bar and boom, there it is, right? Like
we've all been there.
Someone at Gilmore Mission Control hit the space bar.
That has exactly the fact that nothing was damaged and they're going to be fine. That has exactly the right whimsy level of an off nominee. You know, like, quintessential.
I hope it was up. I don't know if it was
someone
upright, but I hope it was upright.
Oh, it had to be, right? Oh, maybe it was.
Might have been. I hope so. I hope it is.
That's how I'm imagining it.
Until you show me video, it's going to be upright in my head.
Right. and it pops off and it like, has that vroom, vroom, vroom. It kind of waves on its way down to the ground.
And it was like perfectly symmetrical and serene, just like.
Did you think the whole thing came off or just one side fell off?
In my imagination, it's both. Yeah.
It's funny. For some reason, I've been picturing just one falling off. That the other was like suspended by something else, on the support structure.
I'm also very curious. Like, I want to see the video actually from an educational standpoint because I've only ever seen them like shot off in space, and there's like, okay, you're traveling at like Mach 50, and it's in space. There's like no gravity, and there's no air resistance. Like, and it's like all the
no gravity.
There's no gravity up there.
Alert to all of the professionals that watch this show. No gravity. If you've been doing math with gravity in space, it doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. So I'm like curious. I'm kind of just curious to like get like a visual of how strong the pushers are. Like,
you're making me like this one less though. That it just.
Do you think it like
down?
Shot off like it would have like an arc trajectory, or did it just like kind of like peel open and fall down like right in front of the rocket? Like, I'd be really curious to kind of know what that looks like, right?
I mean, in Kerbal, you always have the ejection force is like 1,000,000%, right? So it launches, it goes into the ocean when you do it in Kerbal. Yeah. But yeah, you're probably right. It probably just disconnected and like tumbled off.
Yeah.
I was picturing one side shot off the rocket. I don't know why one side. I just thought that was the funniest thing I could picture. Is that one side just blasted off.
And sometimes in Kerbal, if you really screw it up and it like catches on the payload, it just kind of like disconnects and then it like clips and it's like, and it just sort of like sits on the top of the rocket. It doesn't come off. Yeah. Maybe that happened. Maybe it just like literally like fell down.
We got to know somebody that has a picture of this.
You can, if you have a secret video of the front falling off, please send it to the front fell off at offnom.com.
We will keep it and we will not air it until December. That you have our word. We will air this as the off nominee video. And you will win the off nominee. If you give us a secret video of this thing falling off, you will win the off nominee.
Yeah,
in December.
Not the fair. Gilmore Space won't win it. You will win it.
No,
for
you personally. We have a bounty out for this video. You don't even have to work for Gilmore Space. If you merely know a person and they get it leaked and then you send it to us, we will not tell anyone or show anyone until December. You have our word.
If you're a hacker and you want to get it, we're fine.
We will make a trophy and send it to you. You'll have the first off-nominal trophy, and it'll be fantastic.
Yeah. Now that we've said all this, Gilmore's just going to release it tomorrow, right?
Burger's just going to get the picture.
Burger will get it.
Yeah. Tori Bruno's going to text it to him after that fiery photo of Centaur or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Good off nominees already this year.
Yeah, it's looking good. It's going to be a good show. And it's May, so that bodes well.
It's good. Homework, or no, not homework. Housekeeping is the word I meant to say. My homework is to build the rest of the studio. Housekeeping is, this is probably the time slot for the next few weeks because I'm kind of reverse commuting out of Philadelphia to this place and also have children to pick up. So
we're an hour earlier.
Either that or we can rope some Europeans in and do like a matinee show. That's another option. And
maybe
then
some Gilmore
beyond
Space
that,
people.
Jake, we got some stuff to figure out. There's going to be loud renovation noises in and around the region of this studio, so I'm either going to change my office location for the summer when we do the show, or we could potentially go back to late night Off-Nominal.
Ooh.
We haven't done that since the original Off-Nominals. We could go back to our 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern slot.
People might like that. They might like that. I don't know. We'll see.
The Europeans will hate it, but the West Coast guests that we have would appreciate it because they would actually feel free to bring a beer to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a little of each, you know?
Little it's a summer schedule. It's going to be weird. It's fun.
Maybe you'll just deal with the sounds of them swapping out some kitchen stuff nearby in my office.
We also have it's gonna be a little turbulent because so we're getting into summer and I have some time off and you're moving into a house. We're coming up on a milestone here too. We got to think of something smart to do on.
We are
episode 200 is coming up, isn't it?
Oh yeah, in like 2 weeks.
What is this?
What is this?
Yeah,
I think this is 197.
We're 197. So we got to figure that one out probably pretty quick.
I literally didn't care about that at all. But do we do special things? Have we done special milestone shows?
Did we zero index this one? Is it 199?
No. I zero indexed Miko. This one's episode 1. Oh, then maybe we did. No, I think this one is episode 1.
Were they even numbered at first?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Anyway, we could do that.
Episodes 01. Yeah, you can't go to space in pajamas was the first title of this show. We unpacked the National Space Council's inaugural meeting, SpaceX's BFR update from ISC, and the future of Falcon Heavy. Still hotly debated. Hotly debated.
We have not lost focus.
Yeah, you were drinking a pumpkin eater from House Sound. I was drinking a Victory. That was great, man. October 2017.
That's so funny.
We were doing picks back then.
Yep.
Great. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, that's all to say. We have literally no idea what we're doing next week on the show. We have a couple of theories and concepts for who we may invite on the show, but I barely got the studio together in time for today, to be honest. So.
And I have an episode idea, but it requires you to devote homework time, and I don't know if that's fair.
Yeah, I got to rewatch. Jake wants me to rewatch, what was it? Deep Impact and Armageddon?
I want to do a compare and contrast of the twin 1998 blockbusters, Deep Impact and Armageddon, because I watched Deep Impact.
I think I just need longer than 1 week to organize that.
All right, episode 200.
No TV in this house yet. I'm not sleeping at this house yet, but there is no TV in this house yet.
All right, all right.
Yeah, 200 might not be a bad plan.
Yeah.
Also, to make it New Jersey, should we get Bruce Willis to come on the show?
I don't know if he's interview capable anymore. No.
But he is from South Jersey, so.
We'll just call Ben Affleck. It'll be fine. He'll do it.
That'll do.
Yeah.
He'll be available. Yeah. That's it. That's all we got.
All right.
I was unprepared for the ending of the show, so there, I'll hit the music. And what else you got to plug? Anything?
No, I don't think so. Stay tuned for whatever's next.
Stay tuned for whatever the notable tagline of successful YouTubers. Stay tuned for whatever's next.
Yeah, smash that subscribe and ring that bell.
See you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.